Welcome to the Dr. Nikki Starr Show, a podcast to support you in your spiritual awakening and personal development. As a spiritual teacher, healer, and intuitive coach, my intention is to empower you to live your ultimate potential and your ultimate life. As a former medical doctor and mystic, my role is to bridge the gap between science and spirituality to support you in understanding more of your multidimensional aspects. I share on a diverse range of topics, and it's all to support your greatest becoming. My mission is to continue reaching millions of people for the healing and awakening of humankind for the creation of the new earth. Thank you for being here. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Dr. Nikki Starr Show. Today, I am here with Gazzella Mimosa. She is my spiritual godmother. I love her so much. This woman has been a big part of my spiritual development and awakening and transformation. And we share some similar ways of healing and transformation. Today, we're going to talk to you about channeling. And just so you know, Gazzella's first language and main language is Italian. And so we're going to be speaking in English, and there may be moments that she says something in Italian and I interject and say it in English. That's part of this week's podcast. And so thank you, Gazzella, for being here. I love you so much.
Hello, Nikki. Hello, everybody. That's nice for me to stay with you, Nikki, to be here and can connect with the many persons that follow you.
Yes.
Thank you for your invite.
Yeah, my pleasure. You know, Gazzella carries so much wisdom. She has been trained as an oracle, a healer for how many years? 30 plus years? More than 30 years?
We're in the oracles.
Oracle and healing.
35 years.
35 years. So she's had a lot of experience. She's worked with a lot of different modalities. And today we're going to focus on channeling and how channeling can support us for activation into more of our potential and also serves us on our healing path. And so Gazzella channels a group of beings called the helpers. And I channel, for example, when I do my light language, that's channeling. And then there's moments where I do connect to benevolent, loving star brothers and sisters when working with clients. And so, Gazzella, tell us a little bit of how did you connect to the helpers and what's their message about and what has been your experience with the helpers?
It was very interesting for me to connect with the helpers. It happens in the 10 years ago, but I start 10 years ago in direct way in which I can hear the voice in my head and I can speak about with them. But before, another way in which I connect with them was to write. Was very interesting for me to connect with this voice because it's like was a moment in which I heard that inside me there was sometimes new and was very exciting. It's like to be in another campo.
Another field.
Another
dimension.
Another dimension in which you can connect with the love, really, with the love. And that was very interesting for me. And now I use them. Use is not the real sense that I can tell them.
Maybe more like collaboration.
Yes, I mean that. For make that my life was much more focused with my mission and help other person to follow their mission. That is my focus.
Yeah, beautiful. And I've read Gazzella. She wrote a book that was channeled from the helpers. And I remember when I came here about 10 years ago to Dominher, and this is where I met her, a spiritual community in Italy, which I host retreats here from time to time, and I'll have another one in April 2025 if you're interested in coming to that. And she let me read before it was published. What's the name of the book again? I can't.
That's there.
Oh, perfect.
It's living in the freedom.
This one.
In Italian, it's Vivere in Libertà, and in English, it's Living in the Freedom.
Yeah. And when I read the book, I said, "You wrote this for me."
Yeah, I remember that moment. And you cry. I see many people that start to cry when they read the book, because it's like a message that the book gave everybody that is following the mission in this life.
Yeah. And it was just so beautiful because essentially the mission, which is our mission collectively, which is Dom and her community's mission, is we're here for the healing and awakening of humankind, for humanity to make a next evolutionary jump that's rooted in the frequency of love, harmony, abundance, peace, connection, and symbiosis with the plant kingdom, the animal kingdom, the crystal kingdom, where everything is living in that harmony and symbiosis. And we have moments, on our spiritual journey, our transformational journey, where we maybe go to the dark night of the soul, or we're challenged, or we're dealing with emotions, and having people or situations or experiences or healings that help to bring us out of the mind or out of the challenge or the pain, and to make a jump within ourselves, a transformation within ourselves.
Yeah. Scusa, sorry if I interrupt you. I mean that sometimes to read a book or see one video or a film or other things like that, it seems that they make up what there is inside of you. And when you read something that you know inside you, but you don't really know if it's true, it's like that the truth is coming to you, and you can choose that is very important.
Yeah, absolutely. And I find that that's when we touch truth. We feel resonance. We feel like, I know this touches me in my heart. And usually you cry, because I feel when we cry those happy tears, it's like our soul is incarnating more. Our soul is remembering more. And it's really a remembrance. And so channeling, for example, I feel that anytime a person receives a channeled message, and when we say channeling, let's actually define what channeling is. So what would you say is channeling?
I ask my helpers who they are, and they told me that they are like brothers that are without this body, and help people that is in a way to move through their mission, to make they help, like you help a lot of people in this form. I help with my healing is right, a lot of people to understand much more what can I tell them, where if we go in one way and we understand something, it's much more easy to spiegare ad altri,
Explain to the other
what I have conquistato,
what I've overcome.
Yeah, it's very important, because you can give other person what you can understand inside you. And if you are connected with your soul, that is the focus in which we helpers of the normal people can do. And so, in my opinion and in my experience, helpers are just like brothers without our body that can help me and other person to make that our mission go on.
Beautiful. And so those are the beings that you channel, the energies that you channel, like energies that are non-form, that are helping people to fulfill their mission, to reach a new level, a new insight. And whatever you say often is like a key that clicks. And then it's like, oh, people have insights, realizations. And I find the same is true when I channel light language. I don't even speak English. Sometimes it's a song, sometimes it's an ancient language, sometimes it's just frequencies and sounds. But what happens to the person listening is they have a vision, an insight. They realize the next step they need to take. It's like going on a journey, but you don't have to use a plant medicine or something like this. Just the frequency alone is the transmission. And similarly, the words that she speaks when she connects to the helpers create that transmission for a shift, a transformation, a realization, an insight to happen.
Yeah, I think that there is two things. One is that when you channel, there is not only the word but energy, and the helpers are present in that moment in the field. So, person that is in or in distance or close to
In
you
person.
can fruire, can use, receive this energy, and that energy is energy of love. Well, you know that there is a sometimes person ask, but you can channel entity, negative entity or something like that. I think that you can riconoscere,
You can recognize
the good entity that are in the field, in the good field, that are for the evolution of humanity, because they use always word of love. They don't use that you are not good, that you are negative, but they use a word of love.
Yeah.
That is the difference that you can understand if you channel good or bad entity.
Yeah. And so let's talk about what is channeling, because some people might not realize. So channeling is when you allow another energy or frequency to pass through you. And there's different levels of channeling. Like there's trance channeling where you're not even present. Like the human, it's almost like the human steps aside and the energy comes in, and then you're speaking from this other energy. Then there's forms of channeling where you're more present, where it's like the energy is connected into you in different ways, like within your aura or outside of your aura. And there are energy centers like in the back of the neck, the back of the shoulders, where they can connect in more for trance channeling. And then, like Gazzella was saying, with automatic writing, they can connect into the shoulder ones. So through the voice, it's often through the back of the neck. And for the automatic writing, it can often be behind the shoulders. We have energy centers here. And sometimes, and for trance channeling, they can really just come into the crown, and then you're completely stepped aside. And so some people have talked about that it's dangerous. It can expose you to, like Gazzella was saying, maybe energies that are not so much of love and light. And it's very important to protect energetically yourself, the space, and like she was saying, to discern. Like when you start, and it's also how it feels in your body. It should feel good in your body, not pain. I feel like anytime there's pain, this is showing there could be an energy that is not of love and light. And so is there anything you want to add about, and so you channel in a very unique way. Like Gazzella uses a pendulum when she channels.
We didn't say before.
Yeah. So you want to share a little bit about how you do it?
Yeah, I can show.
And so if you're watching the video version, this too or no?
Yeah.
So if you're watching the video version on YouTube, and I recommend if you're listening to go to YouTube, it's always released the Monday after the audio version. So you can see her apparatus of how she does her channeling. And in the bonus episode, she's going to do a channeling that's for the masses, for everyone.
I start make a pendulum course. How do you
A pendulum course, yeah.
pendulum course. Pendulum is this.
So a pendulum, as you know, if you're listening to the audio version, there's usually some type of, it could be a crystal, it could be a piece of metal on a string or a metal chain.
Yeah. I made this course nel 2004
in 2004 she did a pendulum course.
20 years ago.
So 20 years ago.
And in this course with my guide, Falco Tarassaco, it happens that he helped us also to use the letters to speak with. Letters are A, B, C, D, F, G letters. And I start use this, just I ask questions and the pendulum answer
by spelling it out.
Yeah. Andando sulle lettere, spiegano.
Yeah. So basically she would ask a question. And so this is like a Ouija board, you know, like the Ouija board. The Ouija board,
it seems,
So it's kind of similar.
Yeah.
So now a lot of people say like the Ouija board is so bad and it can bring the bad energies. What would you say to that? I think it's all about the intention of the people who use it.
I think that it's not, you have to be really focused about that. It's not, it could be dangerous also to use this instrument without to know how, because if you are not in focus, in the good focus, could be that the entity come and tell you what you want to hear. So I don't I give advice not to use this without any guide in the first moment. And I go on with my racconto about this.
So she's going to share her story.
It happens. So for many years, I go on with this exercise in which I spoke with the letters. I answer just for me. There was a moment in my life in which the pendulum start to go quickly. I couldn't write. And I start to hear a voice in my mind. So I decided that I can go on with record my voice, and because I couldn't make what I do before. It was very interesting because to hear suddenly a voice inside me that is not my voice is excited because you hear a voice, a nice voice that is like ti accompagna, ti vuole bene, ti aiuta, ti consiglia.
Yeah, it's like a voice that cares about you, wants to advise you well, give you information. Yeah, consiglia is like advice.
Yeah.
And loves you. It loves you, essentially.
And that voice asked me if I wanted to write a book. And I told them, yes, I want. And in 1 month, I wrote this book that is Living in Freedom. And so I go on with this method, with the pendulum, in which I hear the voice, I make answer, and the helpers help me to answer.
Beautiful. And so the voice was the helpers.
Yeah, was the helpers. And after sometimes they asked me to write another book, and I wrote Living in Freedom, that is this one.
Listeners Living in Synchronicity.
Yeah, Living in Synchronicity is the second one. And that I want to publish these 2 books. You know, Nikki, I want to publish these 2 books in English for Christmas.
Oh, beautiful.
Until Christmas in English.
Beautiful.
Is my focus in this moment.
Beautiful. Yeah, and I feel like Gazzella has so much wisdom to share just from her years on her spiritual path. And she's done a rigorous spiritual path training as an oracle, etc. And I find that what she was sharing is so important to remember when we do a practice and we continue to do the practice and deepen and steepen it and do it daily and consistently, it opens up to other dimensions inside of ourselves. So similarly, if you do a meditation practice every single day, the benefits of that in terms of connecting to your intuition, of really being able to discern what is me, what is not me, what is good for me, what is not good for me. In a way, we have our internal pendulum through our intuition, and we deepen that through meditation. And what it seems to me is this is also the way you channel very specifically is a meditation practice, because it's a focused practice with the mind. And by focusing the mind, we can allow those other energies, those intuitive, higher dimensional energies, to come in and connect with us and collaborate with us.
Yeah.
And as we mentioned, it can be, we are living in a dimension of Earth that is light and dark. So there can be entities and energies that come in. And like she said, our intention is so important. And being in a place of love is so important. And doing the work to let go of the energies or the emotions that are not serving, that are not ours, that are not love is so important to keep us more in that love path. And and so the more that we stay in that path of love, the more that we can really connect to those loving frequencies as well. So it is, in that sense, a spiritual path, because a spiritual path is really about how much love and compassion we can be in every moment.
Yeah. I'd like to aggiungere, come si dice aggiungere? Add that one thing that I didn't told you before. When I asked my helpers who they are, they told me that they are my brothers without our body. But they told me that I could, that they are with me just because I'm not able now to connect with my deeply soul. And they make bridge to make that I can connect with them. Why? Now it's much more clear to me. We are in a field in which we are all connected, a big field, quantic field. You can call them first energy, you can call big soul, you can call God, you can call that how you feel, how you believe. And I think that everybody of us can connect it with this field. But is a way in which you can, like Nikki, you told before, every day you have to decide, to choose, to connect with this little voice that there is inside you, with meditation, with a space that you make in your life, in which you dedicate at your deeply part one time. We are out of us, and the secret is to start to be inside us, just to find what we are looking for.
Absolutely. And I also feel that the purpose of the healer, the channeler, the person you're going to for advice or support, they're really there just to remind you of what you already know, but you're currently not aware of it.
That's true.
They're not ever telling you, like, we're never telling you anything you don't already know. But the point is to help you remember who you are, why you came here, your truth, your knowing, because you already came with a blueprint of this is your life, this is your mission, this is your potential. And like Gazzella says, it's our choice every day with our actions, our practices, how we want to grow into this power Or do we want to do the things that keep us astray and keep us out of our center? So it is a disciplined path to choose our highest timeline, to choose our highest selves, to choose the foods and the practices and the relationships and the things that serve our greatest becoming versus staying in habit or comfortable or whatever other way of being that's not serving our evolution.
Yes, intentional choice is very important in the spiritual path. It's really important because it's like you want to connect with Nikki, but if you don't open your computer, you can't just hear her voice. It's like our soul. If we want to connect with them, we have to make. I use this metaphor. I say we have to make the number of telephone in which you connect every day until if you don't have intention, if you don't choice, it's very difficult in our time to poter connectare.
To try to connect.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's a lot of interference in the field.
Yeah.
And actually, I just was having a conversation with a client this week, and she didn't understand that, like, she thought, I just thought eventually we don't have to do energy hygiene anymore. She just thought, but we have to brush our teeth every day. You have to take a shower. So every day, even at a higher level of spiritual functioning, when you even can channel, I find it's even more important that we have to meditate and do our practices so that we stay in that higher frequency, so that we are connecting to those higher dimensional realms as a bridge to other people that may have not accessed this gift right now. Whereas we all have the capacity to channel. We all have the capacity to connect with our soul. We all have the capacity to turn our spiritual gifts on. The people who do it, some people are born already active a little bit more in this life, probably because of their karma and because of how much they developed in past lives. So it awakens faster and it's easier to remember. But every human can do it and has done it at some point in reality. And the key is that choice every day to tune in. And even myself, like Gazzella and I are doing a session trade today as well. And my message from the helper was, take that time to connect even more to your inner self, to your heart.
Also for us, yeah.
It's still the message. We can't do it enough. Like yesterday, I right now I'm in Italy. I was in Turin yesterday, and I went to the shroud of Jesus, which was the cloth that he wiped his face on when he was doing his walk for the crucifixion. And the energy for me is very strong in there. So I like to just sit in there and meditate. And I sat there for 2.5 hours and I was in bliss. I was like, oh, because it's the time, and that's how it feels. When we connect to that higher self part of ourselves, to God, to love, to the forces of love and light, it feels pleasurable. It feels so good, and it's so healing for our mind, our body, our energy fields. And essentially, when we channel, we connect to that frequency and we bring it here to Earth. Yeah. Where there's all kinds of energies, but it's like we're here as anchors of the light.
Yeah. That's important also that you choose your frequency. Example one, if you every day you eat hamburger, it's I think it's not very good for your body. And it's like that also when you want to make a way in a spiritual way, you need to put inside you good frequency. Good frequency, it means a good place where you live that is clean, that is order, that you have a good profumo,
smells.
Yeah, you are your place. It become like your temple. That you think about your energetic things. So you make massage, you make other energetic medicine you can use just to take your frequency allineata.
to align your
Yeah.
frequency.
And
The
that's
same with what you listen to, what you
Yeah.
watch. Like, I know I recently watched a movie and I was like, why did I watch it? It was haunting me for days after. And it was an awareness about some dysfunctional things that are happening in society, but it totally affected my energy field in a negative way. And so it is these choices of reminding ourselves sometimes we don't put that on. We don't watch that movie or listen to those lyrics of a song because it could be lowering our frequency.
true.
Yeah. And so is there anything else, Gazzella, that you want to add about channeling or anything that you want to say to our listeners or viewers today?
Mm, I think that the first things is the desiderio,
The desire.
the desire to connect with our soul. This desire, intention are very important to do that. And so you can start to hear un sussurro. Un sussurro is a little voice, una voce lieve, but you can do that just with costanza.
Consistency
Yeah.
is how, so what Gazzella is essentially saying, to sum it up, is have that desire to connect to your soul. And when you sit and listen consistently, you will start to hear this little voice, this inner voice inside, and it'll grow. The more you do it, the more consistent you are. And then when you're at that place, everything is clear. Decisions are easier. You have clarity, your discernment, knowing what is good for you, what is not. And life begins to unfold with so much more ease and grace. And the path of our mission happens with even more ease and grace.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And so thank you, Gazzella, for being here. You can join us for a channeling from the helpers inside the bonus section. I will be sharing the links to her books and any other ways to connect with her as well. Thank you so much for being here, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Nikki, for your invite.
You're welcome. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Dr. Nikki Starr Show. Please like this podcast and share it with anyone you feel would benefit. Subscribe to the podcast to receive bonus content, and remember, every Monday the video version goes live on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for being on the Ascension path with me and for doing this great work.